Welcome to day 2, folks. Today we're going to be talking about hunger. So hunger is the big issue when it comes to fasting, and this is what's going to derail your fasts because you are not going to be able to fast if you're eating. Okay. Now, the biggest thing to understand about hunger is that it's going to pass. So you might find that, let's just say you wake up in the morning, you're starting your 16-8 fast. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. You're used to always eating at 8 o'clock in the morning and you've never done fasting before. Chances are you're going to feel like eating that morning as well. And the biggest thing to understand is that it's going to pass. So just because you feel hungry at 8, it will pass, at 11, at 12, or at 1 in the day. So it might go on for a few hours and then it will pass. But generally, you're talking like you might feel hunger pangs for like an hour maximum, and then it subsides. Understand you won't die. You're going to be fine. And the next tips that we're going to go through are actually going to help mitigate hunger pangs and allow you to get through them a lot easier. All right. So the first thing is having coffee. Coffee helps offset hunger. If you aren't a coffee fan, you can also go with tea. But the only thing to watch out for with tea is if you are on an empty stomach, tea can cause nausea because of the tannins. Okay. So if I have green tea in particular, without anything in my stomach, I will feel very nauseous. You mightn't be the same, but just something to be aware of. So definitely coffee, black coffee ideally, but you can have milk in your coffee as well. It's not a big deal. Like people say, oh, you break your fast if you have anything but water. Maybe, but I mean, we're not looking at this from a solely longevity standpoint. We're just looking at this to mitigate calories and make this work for you over Christmas. Okay. So coffee, carbonated water as well. It just makes you feel fuller. Carbonated water with some lemon or lime is a great option. It's also a really good option to have carbonated water with like apple cider vinegar. It tastes like cider. So if you wanted to kind of not have alcohol, or you wanted to go without alcohol on certain days or mix it up on certain days, carbonated water and apple cider vinegar is a really nice alcohol substitute, and it's 0 calories as well, which is great. Also adding salt to water, just from an electrolyte standpoint, and salt is going to help with hunger pangs. Also, sleeping more as well. If you're in a position where you're actually not working and you have time off, just sleeping longer means that your fast is going to go longer as well. Okay, so just a simple thing, in particular on like if you are doing the Christmas week and you want to do 20/4, just doing, instead of sleeping 6 or 7 hours, which I think a lot of you might be, if you bump it up to like 8 to 10 hours of sleep or time in bed, you've less time to actually be fasting throughout the day when you're actually awake. Okay. Also, just hydrating more. A lot of times you're just thirsty, you're not actually hungry. So like having a big glass of water, or like half a liter up to a liter of water if you're very, very hungry, a lot of times that will keep keep your hunger pangs at bay. And that's the biggest thing, is just understanding like it's going to pass. And also, if you haven't fasted before, or you haven't done it in a long time, it does take a while, like a week to 2 weeks to adapt. So always think with nutrition, when you make a change with nutrition, 7 to 14 days to adapt to the new thing that you're doing. So if you haven't fasted before, or in many, many months or years, it might be quite difficult over the initial 7 to 14 days. Also, if you're eating a very high sugar, high carbohydrate diet, it's going to be harder. You're going to feel hungrier than you would if you're eating a more kind of high protein, higher fat diet. Okay, just something to think about as well. If you are doing a longer fast, so like if you were doing a full 24-hour fast or a 20/4 fast, you might have your last meal at 8 p.m. You go to bed at 10, and then you're sleeping 12 hours. So obviously this is probably when you're on your week off, if you're getting a week off over Christmas. And then you have your coffee and water at like 11, more tea and water at 2. And then at 4, that's like 20 hours, So really you've only had 6 hours to be, to go through to get to your 20 hours there. Okay. So that's super, super easy way of actually mitigating hunger as well, in particular when you're doing longer fasts. So also another thing to think about as well is just bumping up your protein. And if you can, And again, we're looking at scaling stuff. So you don't need to hit 2x your body weight in kilograms in protein. It's a lot of protein. So like, let's just say you're a guy, you're 100 kilos, you'd be aiming to have 200 grams of protein. Okay. And that's about a kilo of meat, which is probably way more than anyone listening to this is going to be able to eat. But the thing is, if you're currently eating, let's just say you are 100 kilos, you're currently eating less than half a kilo of protein sources. So let's just say meat is a simple example. And you end up going from 200 or 300 grams to 500 or 600 grams. So you double your protein amount. That's going to be super effective because it's going to keep you way more satiated. You're going to get all the benefits of protein and you're not going to feel as hungry. And the thing is, if you're eating way more protein, you're going to not feel as hungry to eat other stuff. And most protein sources are calorifically much lower than, say, eating until full with like refined carbs. Like if you're just eating tons of pizza versus eating tons of meat, you're going to eat exponentially more calories with the pizza. You're also going to be hungry sooner after the pizza versus the meat. Okay. So that's what I want you to think about. Like when you are focusing on your food throughout the week, throughout the month, at events, or you're having dinner, just be like, okay, I'm going to fill up on proteins and veggies first. You know, these are the big rocks. Then I'm going to eat my carbs like potatoes, and then kind of junk food after that. So if you're starting with junk food, that's like that's going to be calorifically the most dense thing. That's going to just result in a lot of unwanted calories. A lot of times, if you overeat or eat as much as you want of protein and veggies, you're not going to be that hungry to be eating all of the crap food. And then also just thinking like from an alcohol point of view, going for lower calorie, kind of smarter options as well. So like vodka, lime, and soda versus like vodka and Coke is going to have a massive difference with calories. And then like going for a lower calorie beer versus like a big boozy heavy craft beer, calorifically, you're going to get much less on the first options as well. Okay, so that is it for today on the hunger side of things. This is like something that everyone struggles with, but I think these tips are going to help you a lot.